Hi, everyone. I am Jason Morgan, editor of Fleet Equipment, and welcome to Fleet Equipment Unscripted, the video interview series that connects you with the top minds in the industry. Today, my guest is Ryan Lasky, who leads the commercial vehicle business unit for Dana. Ryan, thank you for joining us. And how's your work from home transition? How are you still supporting customers over there remotely?
Well, it's going great, Jason. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. We're now probably into about week 3 here of working from home, from at least out of our world headquarters, and a lot of our other facilities are certainly wound down to a bare minimum levels, and trying to get used to working from home, working with kids underfoot, and dogs are barking, and but trying to keep the industry moving forward here as we do so.
Right now, you'll hear my kids screaming here pretty soon as well, just because that's how it works.
Yeah, fair warning, it might be coming.
Also wanted to congratulate you. I know you got a job promotion there, just at least publicly, the announcement of your new title. Just wanted to say congrats, and what a time to get that to fill those shoes. So
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much. Excited about the opportunity, excited to be working in the commercial vehicle industry as a whole, and excited for the challenge ahead of us. And certainly it'll be fun times. I wish it would have been under better circumstances to start, but hey, it is what it is. You gotta take what's given. So,
right, a new position always trial fire, but now even more so.
always.
So let's jump into it. What's going on with Dana right now? I know that I've read a couple reports that you're doing some 3D printing to help make face shield parts. So can you tell me a little bit about that? How are you supporting the healthcare industry right now before we kind of jump into the fleet specific stuff?
Yeah, some of the first things that we did as this crisis came out is, we kind of reached out to our engineering and technical communities, our manufacturing teams, and kind of asked ourselves, hey, what can we do to support the crisis that's going on? How can we step up and help? We have a lot of resources, a lot of really smart people at the company. And one of the ways that we were able to find a solution that could help our local frontline workers was we have about 10 3D printers at our world headquarters, and we were able to design and start a manufacturing process to start to produce face shields. So we started to do some of those in kind of a low volume kind of startup, and took those over to the local hospitals and started to get some feedback. And through that process, we're able to work out something that they viewed as beneficial, and we're able to ramp up the 10 3D printers that we have on site, and are now producing about 70 face shields a day to support the local industry here. And then we're reaching out and trying to find some more partners to expand that capacity. So we kind of designed it in an open source format, so we can hand it off to anybody who has 3D printers. And we're talking to local high schools who may have 3D printers sitting idle, and saying, hey, is there anything that you can do to help us get some more capacity here?
Right. No.
One of the first things that we did, we're also kind of taking our purchasing teams and seeing what we can do from a PPE standpoint. I know the hospital supply chains are challenged, but we have supply chains too that we order PPE through. So if there's people that we can connect and try to work as kind of like a matchmaker, take our purchasing expertise and kind of help the local hospitals do some of that as well. So some of the key things we're doing right now.
No, I mean that's really amazing and a really great story, and also I mean not only just a huge benefit to helping the issues of what is going on today, but also I mean Dana is a large company and being able to move that quickly. Those big ships can turn pretty slowly, but that's a cool example of how within I mean a matter of weeks or days you were able to put a solution in place and start helping the community. That's awesome.
Yeah, correct. We started working on another project. This is in early days, but it's what we call an intubation box, and it's basically a 3D plexiglass box that sits over top of the patients. And we've done a couple prototypes of those, working with local hospital officials and see, hey, is this something that's beneficial to you? So we're continuing. We haven't slowed down. We haven't stopped. We're still trying to see what we can do to get us through this peak that everybody says is coming soon, and hopefully it gets behind us here quickly.
For sure, for sure. So let's take that and move it into the trucking industry. How are you supporting your customers? What are you hearing out there, and what are the big challenges you face in helping them run their businesses productively?
We have our facilities right now running a low volume level. Obviously, a lot of the big production supply has been slowed from most of our customers. However, we're still trying to keep a bare bones staff running. And really, one of the key things right now is to maintain a service supply for the trucks that are out there. I mean, the truck drivers, the fleets, the owner operators who are out there delivering the goods. I mean, they are essentially the lifeblood to making sure that we do get the groceries in the stores that are out there and getting the supplies into the hospital. So we need to make sure that they stay up and running, and that's paramount in our concerns right now. So we're working closely with the fleets and the customers and our service supply chains to make sure that we can keep them with parts if they have something that goes down.
Right. And I know that fleets are juggling that as well on their side, keeping the freight moving and their supply chains moving. What kind of supply chains or logistics challenges are you seeing right now, and maybe some tips to help those out?
Really, the biggest thing is to make sure that the people that we have out there within our facilities, within our service distribution centers, is to make sure that we're following the proper safety. I mean, safety is paramount to Dana, and that's something that we want to make sure that the operators who are out there supporting us and doing the assembly of our axles and drive shafts and equipment that we're putting out the door, make sure that we give them the proper PPE, to take the proper precautions, the proper social distancing within our facilities, and even the transfer of ours from the truck drivers as they're making pickups and deliveries. So that's a key thing. We're in daily communication with our customers. Our purchasing network is their phones are ringing off the hook, trying to make sure that as other facilities or other suppliers are scheduling downtime and working through those. So that's a real key element for us, is to just make sure that we're communicating well. That's one of the paramount pieces right now, and what we're facing is you got to be communicating. We're all in this together. We're reaching out to our partners, in the industry, so not just our suppliers, but even the likes of other supply partners. I was on the phone yesterday with Eaton trying to figure out, hey, how have you guys worked through some of these challenges? And so we're trying to share best practices amongst the major people who are supporting this industry, because it's in the best of all of our interest to keep everybody running.
For sure. And I know that's been a big topic in a lot of these discussions I've been having too. I know that fleets often lean on their suppliers and service providers for help, and now is the time to call. I mean, really, with a lot of people working from home as well, it's no different than calling the person that you work with internally, right? You can call the external people and they can help you out.
Yeah, and that's the one thing about the one thing about the commercial vehicle industry as a whole is it's a family. We're all in this to keep the economy moving, transport our goods from point A to point B. It's a very partnership-driven industry, and it's in everybody's best interest to make this work. So it's we all have to kind of rally together, whether it's reallocating resources to making medical equipment, or helping and sharing supply lines across other partners. So it's really key right now.
Right. What advice would you give on the equipment side for fleet managers, making sure their equipment, avoids on the side of the road downtime, maybe extending, if they're looking at extending PM stops? Do you have any? I know you mentioned that you're keeping your parts supply, just trying to keep that network flowing. Anything from the Dana point of view that fleet managers should keep an eye on in terms of their equipment, make sure it's productive?
First advice I'd give to the fleet managers, number one, is going to be protect your drivers. Make sure you have the drivers protected. Make sure their health and well-being. They're practicing social distancing as they're coming in and out of facilities, making deliveries. Make sure they have the right PPE, the social distancing as best they can. So we don't have the drivers. There's no way that this can be successful. The other thing is, with the amount of flow that we have right now, there's a high amount of traffic moving. Especially into these critical areas. It might not be the entire industry is slowed in a number of areas. However, in some of these hot spots, the traffic is going to be extremely high. And it's certainly, fleet by fleet, depending on who they're ultimately serving. We've got to make sure that we don't skip any of the preventative maintenance type steps. Stay focused on those, even if you're running in a high demand. Skipping those preventative maintenance steps is going to put your equipment at risk. So certainly do that. If you're having issues with the products, contact your OEs, contact your supplier partners. and work to get these things resolved. And that's really, I think, the key thing is, I think we get in these times when things are stretched. That's the time when people skip the preventative maintenance steps. That hey, we can catch up in a couple weeks, but if the truck goes down with a shipment of medical supplies or groceries, then people are going to be challenged. So it's worth the extra time to spend it with the preventative maintenance teams.
For sure, a huge bullet point, especially as we've had some hours of service exemptions. Maybe operations might be stretched or changing, to your point, a little bit more than usual. So making sure that fleets are on top of that, definitely good to note. In terms of kind of going back originally to the beginning of the conversation too, clearly Dana has shown a great adaptability to situations and how you can bring value both in and out of the industry. What has that meant to you now, especially in your new role of overseeing the commercial vehicle business unit? And what have you learned from it? And maybe what kind of advice could you impart to fleets that are maybe looking at doing the same thing?
Yeah, I think the key thing that I take from this is it all comes down to culture and comes down to your people. You need to build a good culture within your organization, build that innovative style. Dana, our motto that we've had for years, and we just kind of started kind of pushing it again, is people finding a better way. And that's really kind of where we've come to kind of challenge our technical teams to come up with a solution for this, or talk to our purchasing teams and say, hey, not only work to keep us running, but hey, let's talk to the hospitals and see if we can help get them in touch with people who sell masks that they might not know. So I think really having that kind of innovative culture with your teams, that really is paramount in being able to handle any adversity, whether it's a housing bubble, or whether it's an economic crisis, or a health crisis that we're in now, or a technological change, which we see in the industries now. Is a lot of things that are driving change. If your team isn't adaptive and you don't build a culture to do that, that's really the biggest tip I could give.
Sure. No, very cool. And I think it's a great message for everyone to take away. We might all be socially distancing now, but I think even from my point of view, in my world, we're communicating more. We're being open more about processes. Working remotely with people necessitates a deeper level of communication. So you start to understand people a little bit more, and even kind of have an idea of where the capabilities could lead. It's definitely a cool takeaway.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think challenges like this is what makes people better, which makes people stronger and make you come up with innovative ways to do this. And so, it's tough when you're in it, and obviously the health is critical. But people learn on how to do things better, and we kid about it now that by the time we go back, you and I kidded about, hey, why do I have to go in the office all the time? I can do this from home. Can we make things a little bit better? So that's we'll be better coming out of this. That's for sure.
For sure, definitely, very cool. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. Pleasure. Keep doing the great work you're doing over there in both the industry and helping out in the current crisis. And I'm sure we'll talk with you soon.
All right, Jason, thank you very much. Have a good day. Stay safe.
Thanks, you too.